Nearly 11 years ago, Japan was affected by one of the worst tsunamis and earthquakes in modern history. And last night, history repeated itself 11 years later. Today, we're going to talk about how it's affecting Japan and largely the automotive industry. We are over at automotive news. Renesas suspends semiconductor plants in Japan after earthquake. They are shutting down 3 plants in Japan, and Renesas makes chips and supplies all the automakers in Japan. And there's already a huge microchip shortage, but we'll read it into that in a little bit more. Let's talk about the more important thing is, were people hurt? Were people injured? The overnight earthquake killed 3 people and injured 170. It triggered a small tsunami and even derailed Japan's famous Shinkansen bullet train. Blackouts hit the power grid as far away as Tokyo, where buildings shook and trains were halted. It's unfortunate that this has to happen in Japan. Japan just happens to be in the hotbed of the wrath of Mother Nature. Earthquakes, mudslides, tsunamis, hurricanes, etc. 11 years ago, after the major catastrophe, that killed more than 19,000 people. And it took the Renesas chip factories off for months. We don't know the extensive damage at this point at these factories, but we're going to talk about what we do know. Renesas said all 3 plants, its Naka, Takasaki, and Yonezawa factories, are near the quake zone, which was centered off the Pacific coast from the city of Sendai. A 7.4 magnitude trembler rattled cities as far away as Tokyo when it struck shortly after 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Any long-term interruption at Renesas could output the broadside of global automotive production, already reeling from a worldwide semiconductor shortage. Renesas said on Thursday the electricity has been restored to 2 plants that lost power overnight. The company is currently assessing the impact on equipment and products, as well as the safety of the facilities and condition of clean rooms. They can't say when they're going to resume production at the Naka and Takasaki factories. However, the company said it has partially resumed production on some test lines in its Yonezawa plant. Naka and Yonezawa plants make microcontrollers for automotive industrial use. The Takasaki plant makes the so-called PMOS chips used in converting AC-DC electrical currents. Even if there is no damage, it will take several days to completely restart the facilities. Does that mean production will be altered for the Japanese automakers just several days? Or does it mean it's going to have a ripple effect where it could create huge disruptions months down the road? It's hard to say. Only 1 employee was injured with a minor bruise. It's good to hear. Honda and Nissan said the plants were operating as normal the morning after the quake. Toyota said it suspended morning shift operations at 2 assembly plants near the quake zone to conduct safety inspections and would decide later when to resume. And just before this most recent tsunami and earthquake happened, Toyota made a press release to already reduce production from April to June. So we're going to go to which models are affected and what kind of volume reduction we're going to see from Toyota here. So based on above, their global production plan for April includes overseas production is approximately 750,000 units, comprising of 250,000 units made locally in Japan and 500,000 units overseas. And they are reducing volume 150,000 units globally. And the global production plan average from April through June is around 800 units, down from the 950,000. And there is a possibility the production plan may be lower. And it will more than likely be lower because of the new tsunami and earthquake that has just rocked Japan. All right, so let's see what's being affected here. At the Susumi plant on production line 2 on April 4th and 5th, the Corolla Sport, which is the hatchback, and the Camry. I just reviewed the Corolla hatchback. That review will probably be going live later in this day. 6-speed manual is a lot of fun. Anyways, Toyota Motor Corporation at the Tahara plant, production line 3. This is affecting a huge portion of the Lexus lineup. Again, 2 days, April 4th and 5th. And this is affecting the flagship LS sedan, the sporty IS sedan, the RC Coupe, the RCF Coupe, as well as the NX. And this is tough to see. I don't think production is quite online at the Canadian plants for the new NX. I think that'll be at the end of this month. So yes, that's definitely gonna hurt here. Now moving on to the Miata plant, this is a lot of dates in the month of April here. More NX being disrupted and the NX plug-in hybrid being disrupted, and that's probably going to be the one that has the most volume limitation to begin with, and now that production is going to be affected and limited and shut down essentially 9 days out of the month. So it's roughly a third of the month that the NX plug-in hybrid and the NX won't be produced. The CT is still being made, but it's the last year for Japan. The UX is going to be affected, and the UX 300E, which we don't get here stateside, so that doesn't bother me much. The Miata plant production line 2. Interestingly, the ES and RX are just affected for 1 day in April so far. And luckily, we also have ES and RX production here in North America. RX in Ontario, Canada, ES in Kentucky. So that is not going to really affect us at all for ES RX. But if you're hoping for the new NX, yikes. Anyways, let's keep reading. The Awate plant, production line 1, several days as well. The CHR, which has already been crimped down, at least for exportation to the United States. It doesn't look like Toyota's prioritizing that vehicle here anymore. They would much rather sell the Corolla Cross, which is built and produced here in Alabama. Aqua, they just redesigned, so I'm sure it's a hot vehicle. It's the same thing as the Prius C. But, well, it has a new battery that I love talking about, but we haven't seen that in any other hybrids yet. Production line 2 at the Wate plant, the Yaris and Yaris Cross, we don't get them, unfortunately, anymore. And then lastly, the auto body plant, the Fujimatsu plant, the Noah and the Voxy. Unfortunately, we don't get those little K cars either. 7 lines and 5 plants out of 28 lines and 14 plants total is being suspended partially in the month of April. And who knows what it's going to be like after that. And the last bit, I know the news has been nothing but sad today. That's kind of just the current situation of the headlines in the world right now, whether it's the war going on in Europe and this devastating natural disaster in Japan. We get the Nissan GTR killed in Europe after 13 years because it is just too loud. The engine noises are too loud for what the new lawmaker says how loud cars should be. New regulations are aimed at reducing road noise with a view to mitigating sound-induced stress for pedestrians and people who live near roads. They will be tightened further in 2026 when the legal limit for engine noises will be reduced to just 68 decibels, which could have very heavy implications on sports car and performance exhaust system manufacturers. Final examples of the GTR will arrive in the UK in summer, and Nissan has yet to officially detail plans for a replacement. How ridiculous. You know that the commercial vehicles, the loud diesels and things like that, they're probably not going to have the same regulations, and those are the vehicles that make the most noise. You guys know how much I love over-regulation on the channel, but I'm going to end the video here. Sad times, natural disasters, wars happening, costing human lives. It's costing the balance of the world, if there ever was such a thing, and it's definitely destroyed any sort of regularity that we had in the supply chain system, and it's definitely making companies and countries reconsider their decisions to export business so heavily throughout the world. For Japan, though, it might make sense to export some of their business because it just gets destroyed in natural disasters. But guys, I'm going to end it there. Hopefully I'm done with bad news for a while. Hopefully everything comes back to somewhat of a normal scene or balance here in the near future, but I will be bringing you more news along the way. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe and hit the like button. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.